Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, really wherever our whims take us. Future State! Yes, I know it's been the Future State channel of late, but I've been fascinated by this whole process. The experience of reading all of this, sifting through it, it's been so up and down. Watching what's going to become coalesce has also been intriguing to me. But a lot of Future State has been perplexing, and most stories feel the squeeze of the limited amount of time they have to tell their tale. And that is at the front and center of Superman of Metropolis. This was an interesting way to end things. It left me with far more questions than answers, but also saw the return of mullet Superman. So, small victories. Let's get to it. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Join us on this comic book journey. Last time, the people of Metropolis were being taken over by nanite-style tech that had been created by a company called Trojan Solutions using pieces of Braniac tech, which ended up attached to a descendant creature, Braincell, who ended up using the tech to control the people of Metropolis. The army tried to intervene. Things were getting ugly. So Jon bottled the city of Metropolis. Then Kara showed up, called him out on it, essentially called him an inferior half-breed, and beat him up under the influence of a new material called Nerodium. Only kinda sorta, not really. Her head cleared just as they realized they'd been played by Braincell, and his giant ship showed up. Part 2. Our cover features Jon and Kara fighting a bunch of Braniacs while Braincell looms in the back. Is that Braniac bleeding? It's exciting, not overly indicative of what goes on within, but at least the perspective on this cover didn't make me dizzy like it did on part 1, where his arm was bizarrely extended, creating a fisheye lens type deal. Braincell's ship in space. We open and Jon has been captured and is on the ship. The ship is Braniac's, as Braincell talks about how much the ship has changed since Jon's father was on it. He says that he's a conservationist and that he's conserving the city of Metropolis from Jon. Direct quote, "I am conserving it from you." Yes, conserve can mean protect, but it's odd to hear it applied to one single individual like that. What threat do I pose? Braincell tells him that he's made of fear and that fear makes men do terrible things like bottled cities. But you manipulated him to do this. Is a whole bunch of gaslighting. You wanted him to shrink it. Jon then pulls a Superboy Prime tantrum, punching through the screens of the ship, saying that he is Metropolis's protector, not Braincell's. I have the rhetoric, years of my dad training me, years of Kara helping me, but do I have the actual conviction to live and die by it? So this story wants to ask questions about legacy, about Jon being a hero. Was it his choice or something that was thrust upon him? However, it does not ask these questions with grace, tact, or logic. It also does not have the time to give these questions the weight they deserve. Braincell suddenly releases 4 faceless Superman clones, all sporting different hairstyles and meant to symbolize different Supermen. None of them particularly sound like any version of Superman. So this is pretty much the worst father-son reunion ever, right?
Jokes are good. They are a way humans show intelligence and offer friendship.
They say that they are every era of Superman, but that's a lie because there are only 4. And there are more eras of Superman than that. They don't follow gold, silver, bronze age, etc. either. Instead, we have a Superman who fought Nazis, one who fought communism, long-haired mullet I died in the 90s Superman, and New 52 Superman. Basically, they say they all fought for something. What is he doing? Bottling cities. They're angry and disappointed. These different Supermen are meant to showcase how Jon feels about his father. That he feels his father was better than him and had to find purpose while he has none. Anyway, Supergirl wakes up on Earth. She did not get taken. But she wakes up, looks at what happened, and heads off to catch up. That's her contribution. Jon then gets first-year psychology class on us, saying that boys either grow up wanting to be or to defeat their fathers. That he failed at the first and doesn't want the second. That he has no idea what kind of man he wants to be. Which are good themes, but they fall a little flat, as we don't have a reference point as to what his relationship with his actual father is. Not in this story anyway. We have past depictions which not everyone may be familiar with. We just have his word for it, and he hasn't proven himself to be a very reliable protagonist so far. The Supermen then get weird. I Fought Red Scare Soup says he needs to keep things constant. And New 52 I Wear Jeans Superman says,
"If you have a belief you know is right, do whatever you can to bend everyone to it."
I Died Being Punched Superman says,
"The only way to win a war is to outthink everyone, Johnny boy."
So these are Braincell's programmed clones, so they're just saying things that he thinks that Superman would say, right? Because they're not approximating the mindsets of the Superman they're meant to be embodying. Not in a character level, at least. An argument can be made in some corners for a meta-academic breakdown of Superman through a certain lens level, though. Cause if not, those are some OOC Supermen. OOC stands for out of character. Jon goes on to say Braincell's built this experience for him. The perception Jon has of his father's legacy. Really? He thinks that Doomsday Superman outthought him? Okay. Braincell says that his mission is to make humans' lives better, and we all know that things are better in a bottle. Mission accomplished. Playtime is over and the clones are set to kill. But Jon is done playing too. He's taken his fake dad's advice. It's time to think. He's gonna blow up the Nerodium core. All the Superman in this room needs something immediate to define them. No. they didn't. This seems to be a very reductive approach. Firstly, one has to accept the versions presented and their sole trait, which is a fairly narrow view of these Supermen and their eras. For what's presented is large and not quite defined, although there may not be time for that. Also, if it is a meta argument, then their eras would have defined them, not vice versa, and that wouldn't have been a necessity, but a result of fiction being influenced by the reality it is created in. That's just a bizarre statement. One that is meant to set up Jon's stance, but isn't reflective of the evidence. It also sent me into a tailspin of analysis that took me completely out of the story, which is a me thing. It wasn't intended to do that, but it still happened. It's jarring if you've been following Superman canon for a while. It sets up an inaccurate picture of Jon and his father's relationship as it has been laid out prior to this for new readers. He's got generic dad angst now rather than deep introspection. At least I think they're aiming for deep introspection. I've been letting the end of the world find me before it's even happened. That's why I bottled the city. It just made me less than I can be. But no more. Again, a strong sentiment. Poorly executed. Supergirl shows up to be off-putting and sass the universe. After all, I'm Supergirl, honey. The most powerful person in the universe. Not actually though, right? I'm not sure of everybody's power levels in Future State. Jon meanwhile has gained confidence and he tells these fake dads off, calling them out for their offness, sorta. Yay, I feel more on an even keel now, Jon, thank you. So he defeats Braincell and Kara shows up saying she owes him an apology. I'm sorry I punched you in the face and called you weak. You're right. No, Jon, baby, no. Who hurt you? Oh, right. Supergirl. I know. I'm just saying it more as, I don't know, a gesture? Wow. Also, she did more than call him weak. She called him too human, essentially being a bigot because he's half human, half Kryptonian. And she's not sorry, because she actually thinks that, but she'll make the gesture. Gee, thanks. Also, nowhere was it said that Nerodia makes you say or do things you wouldn't actually do. It just makes you more aggressive. Didn't twist her mind up. She really thinks that. Braincell is on their side and under their control again. And so Jon heads back to Earth with Metropolis to resize it, noting that time has moved differently because space and bottling, wibbly wobbly, it's been months. I owe the city an apology. I made a mistake. You think? So he resizes it and decides it's gonna take a lot of making up to these citizens, that his dad was Superman to the world, but these people need his commitment. He's gonna hyper focus on them. That'll solve all his problems. I mean, they'd probably rather you left them alone, or you can live there and never give them a moment's peace, waking up every day to skywrite good morning to them so that they know that you are always watching. The people will tell stories of how they were once bottled, so you better be nice to Jon. So he gives them a speech, an I'm sorry speech, pledging himself to them. I am Jon Kent, the Superman of Metropolis. So if there are other problems, are you just not gonna go, or... Mama, Superman is back. Yes, honey, he definitely is. That was an experience. I get what this was trying to do. It wanted to have Jon work through some insecurities stemming from the long shadow cast by his father. Can he measure up? Does he want to? All of that jazz. This, in my opinion, does not execute it well. The bottling still comes off as extreme and poorly thought out, even with motivations presented. It also presents a scenario where events feel extra rushed. People's forgiveness comes off way too easy, and his pledge comes across as desperate. It still seems like he has a lot of issues surrounding his father. Issues that you're not entirely sure where they stem from because you were thrown in mid everything. There were some interesting concepts put forth that go nowhere, like Braincell saying across time it's found multiple Clarks but one Jon. But there's no time for that. Nerodium, which they build up, feels like a bit of a throwaway item, and it doesn't feel like it earned its place being used instead of kryptonite. Was it worth the upgrade from the Green K? I don't know. Hope he didn't pay more for the good stuff. Also, if you were asking why Braincells and not Braniac, there's not really a reason for it except to draw the new design with all the mouths in the circle. The clones were a missed opportunity to play with those different era Supermen. They could have served the same function, messing with Jon, but it could have had even more impact if they were saying things those Supermen would actually say. It would hit different, as they say at the time of this recording. Though some will completely disagree and feel that this was an excellent use of the Supermen and clever, and that the things that they said were actually very in line with the eras they were meant to represent. There are many ways to interpret Superman, so it could be up for debate. Again, I got lost in this moment. I don't think it was supposed to be this big of a thing. This comic did not make me feel confident in Jon as Superman of Metropolis or Superman in general, or just I'm worried about Jon now. Also, what was going on with Kara here? The same thing as in Future State Superwoman apparently, where she claimed Clark stole her birthright and then Jon also stole her birthright by being heroes of Earth, but specifically Clark started it, even though he didn't get sent to Earth for that. That just happened, so that wasn't necessarily his birthright, so how could he take it? Also, still hating on Jon because that's the consistency we need in Future State. That one was an interesting read. Beautiful art, Great costume, I love it. Genuine, well-expressed feelings, but almost no connection to things that had actually happened to Kara. And it really could have. You just had to make a few tweaks. I don't know, maybe I'll review it. That is a tale for another day. For now, tell me how you felt about Superman, Metropolis. Yes, there were 2 backups, and while this story didn't endear them to me, and there's not time. If Future State is allowed to have no time and jump around, then so much. Shiloh, Mr. Miracle is getting his own miniseries though, so there you go, telling you about that. Upcoming at the time of this recording. Those were my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. Did this issue bring it home for you? Did it solidify Jon? Were you down with the Superman portrayals? Understand why he bottled the city? Is he the hero Metropolis deserves? Answer all of that and more down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Sounds like I said vid, but I said vid. Bye-bye.